Here we go again. That's better. There we are. Hello, hippie. Hopefully all my sounds are good. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and those of unspecified gender. Welcome back to the GRT Gr4 League Season 2, Round 4, at the Red Bullet of Rings. Evening, Kim. Hope you are well. Hope you are all having a lovely Sunday. And wait for it. There we go. That's all I need to do for that one. And there we go. Hope you're all doing well. It's a fine Sunday evening, or afternoon, or morning, depending on where you are in the world. Let's see who we got with us today. The lovely as always, Rob. You know him, we love him. Robot Chameleon in the M4 once again. And I believe we have Morp Gibril in the sit run, looking to capitalise on the great weekend he had last weekend, finishing firstly on pole, first in feature race and first in the sprint race as well, so he will be coming back off this high. Oh, I need to get into that. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. I might actually go on it tonight after this. That might be an idea. Might go on after this. But before killing dragons and spiders and whatever else, we need to do some racing. Speaking of racing, Rocketman in another lovely looking livery for the Mustang. Looks like it's almost got a sports team sponsor on it. Is that Panthers? Can't read exactly what sponsor it is on there. Hang on, that's got the catastrophic sponsor on there. Can't quite tell what it is. Right, and having some problems connecting tonight. Evening, Gad. Evening, Rob. Oh, look at that speed entry into the pit lane there. And we have the two Jags, the pink one and the green one, the ones that are always high, going back with us today. And we also have Nick, who's the other guy out on track at the moment. Off-track overtake as Nick himself. Should be some good fun tonight. Just waiting for the rest of everybody to show up now. Wrighton looks to have some problems connecting as everybody else in. Yeah, that's all we have tonight. So how's everybody doing today? Everyone had a fun-filled day? Ah, fair enough writing. Boring Sundays and coffee. That does sound like a Sunday, to be honest. Good evening writing as well. Fair enough. Meditating boldly. Fair enough, Gav. Fair enough. Is the ones that are always high yet? I wonder. That is true though. Like Sunday's the only day where it's like nice to have a boring day. Any other day of the week it's a bit It's definitely closed. They're not allowing. He's not allowing. Like they're not allowing him back into the garage. He's there for like the entire session now. Like everybody's just going, like in his pit, they're just going, well, why? We're not going to let him back in. Christ, he's not allowed to make any pit stops. See, there you go. I only need to say it once and they'll be up there in the clouds, so. I guess I actually had a productive day today, technically. I was actually playing Gran Turismo for fun. What? I've actually been playing Gran Turismo on my own. It's like unheard of in this day and age. Being a sweaty tryhard that I am, and I can actually call myself a sweaty tryhard now because once the watching thing goes away, there we go. A+S. First time I've actually reached A+, technically, in this game. So I can now be called the sweatiest of tryhards, along with everybody else. Did go down a treat in the race B in Madatsen. Geese, do you mind? I'm really hoping you could have heard them there because they were squawking like mad. Anyway, yes, I am. I'm just like that's like my official title now. I'm gonna have to add another name to my Discord. GRT Dad, GRT Spicy, GRT Sweaty Ball Bag, Mashed Potato. It's a long name, but I think it's worth it. I also might put like Sir in front of it, so it's Sir Spicy Sweaty Try Hard Dad Mashed Potato. It makes sense in some universe. I don't know. Anyway, let's look at something else. Go instead of just a bloody menu. I'm good at this. I'm good at this, chat. Come on. Doesn't look like I have anybody else alternative out on track at the moment. Oh, it's just Black Panther. Fair enough. So is that in reference to the movie, or is that like an actual sports team? I hope it's not Carolina. I really don't, but it doesn't look similar. It looks like a basketball team for some reason. I don't know why I'm thinking that, but never mind. Ah, here's a different person. In the Everton strip himself, Sean. A lovely looking car. And I believe, is this Julian? Yes, it is Julian. The man, the myth, the legend, out on track yet again. Always a joy to see Julian in these league races once again. Praying for big things, Julian. I believe in you. Let's do it. So yes, I will be putting the thing up for starting soon. We shall wait for Rob to get here, so I'm not making that mistake like I did last week. So we'll be waiting for Rob to get here, and then I believe, is Wrighton still in here, or is Wrighton in the lobby again? Let's have a look. Yeah, Wrighton's here, so yes, it looks like we're just waiting on Rob for the meantime. So, waiting on Rob, and then we'll get this thing started. Rob, what the hell am I on about? Yeah, Rob's been in here from the start. What the hell am I on about? So we're not rating on anybody else. Yeah, I've inhaled the fumes from Garden Hippie. Rob, sorry. No, I don't think we're waiting on anybody else now. But if Sean's in here, I swear to God we're waiting on somebody else. We had 9. Oh, it was crazy last week, wasn't it? Of course. So we've still got 9 this week. Cool. That's fine. Yeah, so we'll get this started in a minute. Right on schedule for a change. Imagine that. Actually keeping to a time at a GRT League event. Are you mental? It's impossible to do. Right. Let's get this thing going then, shall we? On that note. Let's go. Actually starting at the recommended time. What? A lovely sweeping shot of the track, apparently. What? What is this view? I mean, I know it's people coming out the pits, but... Okay, there we go. That's a bit better. Yeah, that was very odd. Oh well. You got a lovely sweeping sweep of the landscape there. Definitely not with 10, like, 144p mountains in the background. But here we go. So it looks like Rob and Gibril are once again the first guys out on track. Hippie in 3rd place? What the hell are you doing there? That's not allowed. Hippie actually getting the jump on everybody else at the moment. Followed by Sean, Wrighton. Gard just coming around the tight right-hander as well. Then we have Mike, Nick, and we have Julian just coming out the pits now. So let's actually have a quick look to see what tyres people have gone out. So at this point of this, so it looks like Rob's got the softs on as well as Jason. Hippie going for the mediums as usual, so he'll be diving into the pits. Sean on the softs, Wrighton also on the mediums, so they will be both diving into the pits. Gard on the softs. We have Mike on the mediums as well, he will be diving into the pits. Nick on the softs, and Julian on the mediums. So we have a very split field at this moment in time. Rob just locking it up slightly coming in to the tight right-hander there. I believe, is that classed as corner 3? 3, I think, technically. Again, I'm useless with track names and corner names and everything to do with actually knowing information about the track and cars and whatever, so you know, I'm a good commentator. That's the way, Julian, that is most definitely the way. He needs practice though. Nobody needs practice. So we have Rob coming through the S's for the first time. Coming down to the last couple of corners. Well, he managed to stick it. Manages to keep it clean coming through the final sectors. Oh, right at the edge of the limit, perfect lap. Perfect exit there from Rob, comes across the line to set the benchmark of a 136.133. Jason comes across the line with a 136.4. Sean comes across the line as well with a 137.9, slightly off the pace there, but only 3/10 separating Rob and Jason at this point in time. And looks like Gad comes across the line with a 137.4, separating both Jason and Sean. A second off the pace of Jason at the moment, but crucially half a second ahead of Sean at this point in qualifying. Good benchmark lap there for Gad. He will most likely want to be trying to come in at the pits to maximise the lower fuel and fresher tyres. At this stage of the race, it looks like Nick comes across the line as well with a 137.8, just edging out Sean at this early stage of the qualifying. He was one of the only other ones that was on the soft runners to start, so all of the other medium tyre runners at the moment who have yet to set a lap will be coming around for their first flying lap now. So who will be the first across line? Looks like Wrighton is going to be first across line at the moment, followed by Hippie, then Mike, and then Julian. Julian just coming across the line now to finish his out lap. It's interesting to see where all of these guys slot in, and crucially who will pit this lap, as we see Rob coming up to the pits, actually continuing round for another lap, as well as Jason now. Will he be quicker? Comes across the line, 136.145, not quite enough. Jason improves, but not enough, but extends his lead to Gad to secure his second place running at the moment. Very close between Rob and Jason as usual, but even closer this time around. Gad coming across the line as well, revving it out, wanting to just maximise the fuel, so he's using as much fuel as possible. Wrighton comes across the line to set his first flying lap at the 136.7. Gad and Wrighton are looking at a massive rivalry at the moment for position, so it'll be very interesting to see who comes out on top in this scenario. Hippie, Gad's teammate, managing to separate both Wrighton and Gad. Just ahead of Gad, but half a second behind Wrighton at this point of the race. Really good one lap pace again from Wrighton, as Mike now separates Wrighton and Hippie to go fourth place at 137.19. The Mustangs looking really good over their one lap pace once again. But will it hold up? As I say, the Mustangs have looked really good over one lap pace, but not so much during the race due to their tyre wear, as Julian comes across the line to set his first flying lap with a 138.7. Just a little bit off the pace of Sean there, but no doubt he will improve over time with the fresh set of rubber on. And speaking of fresh sets of rubber, both Rob and Jason peel into the pits to get on a fresh pair of them soft tyres and wreak havoc on that time yet again. Will anybody else be diving into the pits at this stage? Wrighton just coming around the second to last corner. Will he be diving into the pits? Yes, he will. Gad also coming into the pits after burning as much fuel as possible. Hippie also diving into the pits for another set of tyres. Who will be the next one? Looks like Nick's coming around the penultimate corner as well, also diving into the pits. So all of these guys employing the fresh set of tyres for these last few minutes of qualifying. Rob, Jason, and it looks like Mike actually pulling into the pits there as well, but Rob and Jason and Sean look to have gotten the jump. Sean actually hasn't pulled into the pits, but does actually exit out, so it looks like Sean might be done for the qualifying. But let's have a quick look at these two as they come around for their outlaps. Obviously don't want to use too much of the tyres on the outlap, but want to burn as much fuel as possible for their flying lap. Hippie and Gad coming out the pits now, with Julian improves massively with a 1:38, just behind Sean now. Only 0.05 of a second separates them. Julian will probably be able to come in for another set of soft tyres and once again improve on that time. You might want to come into the pits on the next lap and get a couple fresh tyre flying laps at this stage. Be interesting to see where these guys come out. To see both Rob and Jason. Jason just using a little bit too much of the track limits here, and I will say, while we are watching, let's go on board with Jason for a lap. As I explained, that I will be employing a bit more of a penalty system this week. It was mentioned in chat to the guys beforehand, so for anybody who is watching the stream, and to any of the racers that are watching the stream at the moment who didn't catch my message before, all penalties are still turned off for the race, but I am employing an F1 style penalty system for this race to anyone who I catch going over the limits of the track. So you will get 2 strikes with no deductions of time or anything, but on the 3rd infringement, and it has to be deliberate as well, 3rd deliberate infringement of the track limits, you will receive a 3-second penalty, and every infringement after them 3 as well will also award you another 3-second penalty. This will all be judged by me, so if anybody has any issues or queries in regards to this, just let me know over the DMs in the Discord, and I will have a look at that for you. It looks like Jason just hasn't quite managed to scrub up this lap just yet, so he'll be looking to get around for potentially 2 more laps on this set of tyre, or will he dive into the pits once again? No, it doesn't look like he might have time really using all the limits of the track there though. Great driving from Jason this time around. Rob actually goes quicker yet again with a 1:35, first drive to go into the 35s there. 35.8. Jason doesn't manage to improve, and it's going to be a tall order to beat that time from Rob's this time around. But great job by these 2 drivers still to wield the 1st and 2nd places. So let's have a quick look to see who is the next person to come across the line now, as Gad's coming up on a run to the finish line. What kind of time will he get? A 1:36.5, a great time from Gad, just behind Jason at this point in time. Great lap from Gad, displacing Wrighton, but speaking of Wrighton, he will be coming across the line now. Looks like he actually made a mistake in that part of the lap. Hippie coming across the line now and actually managed to displace his teammate. 3rd and 4th position for the ones that are always high. Great job for both of them guys here, getting 3rd and 4th place. That's crucial for their standings at the moment. Nick managing to improve his time, keeping himself in 7th position. Rocketman managed to improve his time as well, putting him up in the 6th place, but not quite managing to challenge the 2 Jags at this point of the race. The Jaguar will look strong here in the opening qualifying session, and does have slightly better race pace than some of the other cars around them, so it's going to be very interesting to see if they can actually keep pace with the rest of the drivers. But it's looking very good so far for the ones that are always high of Hippie and Gad. Looks like a lot of these guys have already given up and are already in the pits. Ooh, a bit of a mistake there from Mike. That might spell the end of his qualifying session at the moment. Let's have a quick look here. Rob managing to get across the line for one final lap, but will the tyres be able to show their level of grip at this stage? Actually going a bit wide on that corner. Allow the slightest of touches wide for qualifying, and it looks like Jason has also thrown in the towel at this stage, so it looks like the rest of the guys, looks like Nick's still on a flying lap. Mike was on a flying lap, but a couple of mistakes. It doesn't look like he will be improving at this stage. Will Nick have the pace? to displace any of the other drivers ahead of him. Coming into the final corner now, using all the track, goes a bit wide there, will lose a slight bit of time coming out the final corner. Coming across the line, what will he get? 1:37.4, doesn't quite manage to improve on his time, and he will stay in 7th place. So it looks like we are just waiting for the only person on the fastest lap right now actually going purple through the second sector by 1/10 of a second. Will Rob manage to extend his lead in this qualifying session despite having worn soft tyres? Very good line coming out of the penultimate corner there, just grazing the curb, going slightly wide on exit, then again losing a little bit of time coming out the final corner. Will it hinder him? It does. He just misses out on setting a better time, but maintains his pole position for the feature race at Red Bull. Great time from Rob there, one of the only guy to get into the 35-second barrier. So great job from Rob this weekend in the qualifying session. Really well done from Hippie and Gard as well to take home 3rd and 4th place, displacing every other driver and coming in very close to Jason's time actually. These two looking very competitive here today, and will they be able to translate the qualifying pace into race pace? That remains to be seen, but good job from them two today. Wrighton not managing to quite put his car exactly where he has done the last few weeks in qualifying, but still just beating out his teammate in 6th place as well. Unfortunately, Nick just having a little couple of errors on his lap just puts him slightly behind both of the Mustangs, but it's very close between him and Julian in 7th and 8th place, and Sean not far off the back of them either. Good qualifying pace from all these guys today. Actually a very close qualifying session. Not too much time separating the entire grid here, so very well done by everybody here. We'll have to see how the strategies work out in this part of the race. Will people go up on the medium tyres, get a good head start and outlast the guys on the softs? That remains to be seen as qualifying ends with Rob, Jason and Hippie in the podium positions for qualifying. It's race time. Here we go. Rob on pole, followed by Jason and Hippie, as already said. Gard, his teammate, in 4th place. Wrighton and Mike share 5th and 6th place for the 3rd row of the grid in the Mustangs. Nick in 7th, Julian in 8th and Sean in 9th place. As we wait for the lights now, as the cars rev up, and away we go. Looks like a wheel spin for both Jason and Rob here, but Jason looks to see if he can try and make a move on the outside. Looks like one of the Mustangs has actually got a false start and has not managed to get a great start. As Jason goes up the inside, sliding it round the first corner there, just managing to get in front of Rob at this stage. But look at Gard in the background as well, having the toe off of Jason at this early point of the race, managing to get past Rob. And look at this, Rob's being hounded by the straight line speed of the other cars at the moment. Jason on the inside defending his line, Gard looking to try and go around the outside. A great move by Gard. Will he manage to keep it? The power of the Jag will give him an advantage, but a great move by Gard going around the outside of Jason. Will he manage to keep it coming into the second hairpin now? Hard on the brakes from both of these guys here. Gard managing to go around the outside, a slight bit of contact. Gard still on the outside of Jason. There's a great stuff as they come 3 wide into the next corner. Rob's just going to have to back out there. Gard managing to get into first place, managing to get round Jason at this early stage of the race. Great driving by Gard here, managing to get up into first place at this stage. Not what Rob would have wanted here. He will have to overtake both of these, and he's crucially on the softer compound of tyres. So really, Rob really wants to try and get past these two as quickly as possible now. Quick flash of the lights there from Gard, showing that he is most definitely a pad user. Rob diving up the inside of Gard there. Bit of a late move from Rob, but manages to make it stick, and Rob now goes into first place, but he will be very vulnerable to the slipstream behind these guys. It looks like Wrighton now also on the back of Jason here at this point of the race. Hippie now managing to get 5th place, but Nick diving up the inside, contact between them two as Hippie is slightly pushed wide by the McLaren driver. These two will want to be careful at this early stage of the race. They don't want to fall behind this pack because the slipstream is very crucial at this point of the race, especially. Ooh, looks like it just managed to get through unscathed by both drivers there. Gard trying to maybe just have a sneaky lunge on Rob, but not quite managing to make it work, but crucially still in the slipstream of the M4 in front. Jason just applying a bit of pressure. Oh, but looks like Jason's got a bit wrong into the braking zone, not anticipating the braking zone from the slipstream. Manages to just go a slight tap into Gard there. He will want to try and avoid that as much as possible, as it looks like it is now allowed Wrighton to close right up to the back of Jason once again, as all the drivers now go through and setting purple sectors. Rob actually managing to gain hugely now thanks to that contact between Gard and Jason here. He will now want to streak away as much as possible. Gard doing an excellent defensive job here, showing some real pace at these early stages of the race. Ooh, a couple of drivers going wide there. Ooh, Hippie just going a bit wide there. That might have to be looked at. Jason tucked right up to the back of that bright green Jaguar there, just looking for maybe a slipstream benefit. Gard goes defensive on the inside on the run up to T3. And look at the power of that Jag as well. Just Jason just not managing to get past at this point in time. Ooh, and Gard just goes a bit wide, a little bit squirrely on the exit there. That allows Jason to pull alongside, but not too much, as the power of the Jag still keeps him in front, as Rob has now extended his lead to 2.6 seconds. An excellent job that Rob really needed to make that pass on Gard and keep the rest of the guys around him at bay. It looks like Wrighton now, and now Nick closing up to the back of these three. But remember, Nick is on the softer of the compounds here. He's the top soft compound runner apart from Rob in first place. So it'll be interesting to see if Nick can take advantage of his soft compound of tyres and make it work. Looks like Hippie has managed to drop off a bit of the pace a little bit after having a great qualifying position. Just being muscled out by a couple of these guys here and no longer in any slipstream. But no doubt the man in pink will be able to salvage this. Just keeping it on the curbs there for Hippie. Looks like he might be ushering Mike through at the moment. He knows that maybe he just wants to save a little bit of fuel here, just not challenge too much with Mike here. Maybe just opting to work together slightly here just to make sure they don't fall too far off the back of the pack in front, as it now looks like Jason is now still right up to the back of Gard at this stage. A 4-second gap between second and first place now. Rob doing an excellent job just managing to keep the pace here and really hammer down this lead and provide as much of an advantage to the rest of the field as well. So you see Nick has actually managed to get past Wrighton at this stage of the race. Let's have a quick look to see what he did. Coming down the inside, coming into the hairpin, easy as you like for Nick, managing to get the traction on exit. Good pass for Nick here as he manages to maintain fourth place. Coming into the S's here, just approaching the third section. Jason still not mounting a challenge to Gard at this stage of the race. Maybe he just wants to try and conserve a bit more fuel, conserve them tyres, but you can see how much time he's actually lost to Rob in front, but you can actually see how much tyre wear that Citroen has compared to the Jaguar at this stage of the race. I think it's only a matter of time before the Citroen's better tyre wear catches up and allows Jason to get in front. A little bit wide there from Gard, just missing the apex slightly. Maybe the tyre wear just creeping in on these harder compound of tyres. Nick just falling a little bit off the pace here. Not quite in the range for slipstream at this point of the race. keeping it very clean coming into T1 now. All the drivers being very sensible at this stage of the race. Not many wanting to actually challenge each other, just opting to just be sensible and keep pace with each other, not wanting to lose time to any of the guys around them now. Jason getting a very nice run out of the hairpin, but will it be enough down the back straight? You can see the power of the Jag really coming in handy. The acceleration and top speed of the Jaguar really coming in handy compared to the Citroen now. You can see how much more power that Jag has over the French supercar. But again, you can see the extra tyre grip of Jason's Citroen now coming into effect as Gad just missing the apexes slightly at this point of the race. Still setting good times from Gad, but Jason really wants to try and make a move on the Jag now as he comes up to the final couple of corners now. Will he manage to make a move? Manages to just squeeze it up the inside there. Good move from Jason now. Tiny bit wide on exit and manages to get into second place, but crucially will Gad manage to make a challenge back at this stage of the race? And it looks like a few of the drivers in the background just quite have lost being off the back there. Oh, as it looks like both Jason and Gad go wide of the first corner. That will definitely be a strike on their part for track limits at this part of the race, but we'll not focus on that right now as Gad and Nick close right up to the back of Jason here. None of them wanting to make a move quite yet, but again, look at the power of the Jag now, just pushing Jason along there. The power of the Jag really showing its head here, but he has to be careful of Nick behind him on the soft compound of tyres. Nick making his tyres last very nicely at Red Bull Ring this time around as Nick looks to try and make a move on the inside. Doesn't quite manage to make it stick. Gad with an excellent defensive move there, but they won't want to fight too much as Jason looks to extend his gap out of the slipstream. These three will not want to fight anymore, otherwise that second place will be slipping away. And you can see the added grip of the Citroen there, actually going a bit wide coming through the S's there was Jason, just losing a bit of time. Gad once again coming back into the slipstream of the Citroen in front. You can see how much time he's managed to gain in the acceleration zones and the straights. Gad just going a little bit wide there. Again, Jason just going slightly wide, as well as Wrighton in the background there. Again, Gad using the slipstream to his advantage now though, and managing to separate himself from Wrighton, who was unfortunately fell out of the slipstream of Nick at this point in the race. Ooh, Gad again just going a little bit wide out of T1, but you can see now Jason actually gaining a little bit more time there. Now Gad falling out of slipstream range of the Citroen in front. Nick will be looking to make a move on the bright green Jag, as I think the first round of pits will be coming up very soon. Rob with a 7.8 second advantage over Jason behind. Great job from Rob just to really use them soft tyres to the best of his ability. Gad just having a little bit more of a gap to Nick, but as he closes up, maybe the soft tyres on that McLaren just fading out a little bit more compared to the mediums, as he's not able to apply as much pressure as he would like to the green Jag. But this is a very strong position for Gad at this stage of the race, only 1.4 seconds off Jason, and both of these guys on the harder compound of tyres. Will anybody want to make a pit now? Let's have a look. Looks like Gad is going to be the first one to jump coming into the pits to get off of those medium tyres and potentially get the undercut on all of his rivals around him. Jason actually managing to save a lot more fuel compared to the rest of these guys. Hippie now almost with half a tank of fuel. Great job from him, but looks like Mike has also pitted there with a bit more fuel and is opting to go on to the softer compounded tyres to get the undercut here. as they pull into the pits now. The rest of the field looking fairly separated at this point in time. Nick not managing to gain too much time on Jason in front, but he does actually manage to get a very nice run out of the hairpin and puts the gap to under 2 seconds now between Jason and Nick. But remember, Nick is on the softer of the two compound of tyres, so it'll be very interesting to see if he can actually make this work on this second stint on the medium tyres and maintain his good position at the moment. As I see Julian and Hippie going at it right now. Hippie just opting to save a lot more fuel. You can see how much more fuel Hippie has compared to Julian at the stage of the race, and both these guys still need to make the jump to the softer compound of tyres here, but you can see how much time these guys have lost out to Rob in front. 17.5 seconds behind the leader, these two are. But Julian is still going strong in the sit-run and managing to set personal bests while being in the slipstream of Hippie in front. Will anybody else look to make a pit stop at this stage? No. Jason just managing to maintain his gap to Rob there. Both Jason and Nick staying out. Wrighton also on the medium tyres, opting to stay out for a bit longer. And it looks like he's actually managed to manage his tyres very well at this stage compared to what the Mustang is usually like for tyres. Going a bit wide out of T1. Won't lose him too much time, but maybe an infringement at this point of the race. And it now looks like Hippie is actually managed to gain a bit of time on Julian here as he now tries to reel in that pack in front. You can see now Jason's just been unleashed in that sit-run, managing to put 2.3 seconds between him and McLaren. And Nick has actually managed to make them soft tyres work very well and put a 2.5 second gap to Wrighton in the Mustang behind as well. And Hippie now managing to gain on some of the rest of the guys around him for the pack in front, just opting for a little bit of a short shift at this point of the race. And never dismiss Hippie in these kind of races. His tyre management and fuel management, more importantly, is excellent in these types of races, so he will have a big advantage coming into the pits. He might want to try and get onto them soft tyres now to maximise that and potentially get the undercut on some of the other drivers around him. So let's see, is anybody else opting to go into the pits? No, Wrighton actually staying out for another lap as well. This could be the opportunity Hippie needs, but he stays out for another lap on them mediums. A lot of these guys actually making the medium tyres last a lot longer than they might need to. As you can see, the pace of Rob now 9.8 seconds ahead of Jason, is still managing to gain a lot of time on the rest of these guys around him. And you can see the consistent times that Rob here really showing his stuff and showing that he is a veteran of Red Bull Ring, almost bringing the gap up to 10 seconds now. You might want to think these guys actually might want to pit in a little bit earlier to get on them soft compounds as soon as possible, as they don't look to have as much wear at this point of the race. Let's have a quick look at Gad's times right now with a 1:36.7. And let's have a quick look to Jibral's last time with a 1:37.9, a second quicker than the sit-run at this point of the race. Really good job from Gad, and it looks like he might be able, depending on the fuel wear, he might be able to get the jump on Jason coming out the pits. We'll have to wait and see here, but it's going to be very interesting to see where these guys come out. Mike as well, not far behind him as well, also setting 1:36.7. So both Gad and Mike here setting very similar times at this stage of the race, and potentially might get the undercut on a lot of these other drivers around him. Really good stuff from these guys, maintaining pace to each other. It's going to be very interesting to see where these two slot into it now. And let's have a look as Rob dives into the pits. Jason going out for another lap here. And so does Nick at this point of the race. Wrighton opts to try and get the undercut on both of these guys. Speeding around in the pit lane, just getting a bit on the grass there, and a very low amount of fuel. Hippie opting to go around for yet one more lap on these set of medium tyres. You have to say, it might have been a better suggestion to maybe go on to the soft tyres a little bit quicker and get the undercut in fresh air. But who am I to judge Hippie here at this point? And it'll be very interesting to see where the rest of these guys come out. As you can see, Gard now actually coming around the final corner. He's going to be quite far ahead of these guys. It looks like Rob actually coming out of the pits now onto his set of the soft tyres. And what is the gap between him and Gad at this point of the race? And look at that, Gad managing to gain almost 4 seconds on Rob in the pits. Great job from Gad and Rocketman, as Rocketman now manages to jump his teammates in the pit. The undercut working beautifully for these two drivers now, as Wrighton is now almost 7 seconds behind Gad at this stage. Disaster for Wrighton at this point of the race, as he is now 7 seconds behind his main rival in the championship. And worse yet, his teammate has now overtaken him. These guys will really want to try and pit in as soon as possible. It looks like Nick will have to pit in this lap, as he will be running out of fuel now. And Hippie is actually in more credit. Oh, that is definitely an error for Nick there, not wanting to really not the corner. He wanted to go wide on there, actually losing quite a lot of time to Hippie there at this stage of the race, as Nick has 0 fuel left as he comes into the pits, with Jason also coming into the pits. These guys will be very quick at the end of the race, but crucially, will these guys have enough time left in the race on these soft compound of tyres to make that difference here? As you can see, Rob now coming around down the main straight here, and it looks like Gad not too far behind as well. Rob looks to have completely cleared the rest of these guys now. So you can see Gad now coming into second place. Jason just managing to maintain his gap now over Gad, but you can see a big, not that much of a difference, despite Jason managed to save that more fuel than Gad in this scenario. The gap is exactly the same as where they came into the pits. So crucial for these guys. But look at Nick now managing to actually maintain his position in 4th place. Great job by Nick at this stage, but again, he's on the harder compound of tyres at this stage of the race, and it looks like it will be a battle between Nick and the 2 Mustangs, as well as Hippie in the background, who now actually comes out just behind Wrighton at this stage of the race. Hippie with the better tyres at this stage, but will he be able to make any ground on the rest of the guys around him? It will be a big ask for Hippie, but if anybody can do it, these two will be battling hard in front. So Wrighton and Hippie might actually want to try and work together at this stage of the race, just to try and maintain and catch the couple guys in front of Nick and Mike here. Gad managing to extend his lead ever so slightly to both Nick and Mike at this stage of the race. 3.3 seconds now separates 3rd and 4th place. And Rob now managing to maintain a 5-second gap. Jason really putting the hammer down at this stage of the race, and he will be gung-ho right to the very end here. But will there be enough time to catch Rob? That is the question. And Rocketman really close to the back of Nick now, but you can see the tyre wear on that Mustang really not doing him any favours. Will Mike be able to mount a challenge coming into the first corner? He goes for the dummy. Is he going along the inside there? No contact between the guys, but doesn't get a quick run out, and Nick manages to maintain the position around the outside. Again, this battle just slowing these two up even slightly as well, as it looks like Wrighton and Hippie still managing to close the gap ever further now. Ooh, big slide there from Mike coming out of the hairpin. Not what he would want, as he needs to try and hunt down Nick as much as possible, but it looks like his tyres might be wearing out too soon at this stage of the race. Looks like both of them just opting for a bit of a wider line, cutting in very fine at this stage, and Wrighton and Hippie again just drawing that little bit closer to these two. This is where the battle is at this point of the race. And oh, look at Rocketman, great line through the S's here, managing to get a great run on Nick at this stage of the race. The medium tyres looking to have just less grip than the Mustang at this point. Great run for Mike at this point, but will he have made up enough of a gap to challenge into the last couple of corners? Doesn't look like it. Hippie moves to the inside of Wrighton as well now. Doesn't look like he quite managed to pull it off. Ooh, looks like Wrighton's actually managed to go a bit wide there of the corner, and again Looks like the soft tyres not working too well for the Mustang at this point of the race. And looks like Rocket Man wants to try and make a move on Nick. Nick opting to go around the outside. Tiny bit of contact between the two. This is great racing between the two, as it's going to look like the Mustang has the power advantage over the McLaren at this stage. It's going to be hard into the brakes. Nick opting to go around the outside. Mike shuts the door on him, and that's a good pass from Rocket Man to seal 4th place up for the moment. Hippie managing to get past Wrighton at this stage of the race, and Hippie is now on the hunt, while both Mike and Nick battle in front. The Jag and the other Mustang have managed to close right up now on their fresher set of soft compounder tyres. And with 2 minutes left to go in this race, a couple laps, will it be enough for these two to catch up? Oh no, and it looks like Gad has had a massive lag spike there. Hopefully he doesn't have any issues there. No, and Gad is disconnected. It looked like it was AI. It took control and he went around the sand there. Absolutely gutted for Gad there. Was in the podium position at this stage, but look at this battle for third now. The battle for third is now on, with Rocket Man leading the field there. Nick going a bit wide, coming out at the penultimate corner. Hippie managing to move up the inside of the McLaren here. Hopefully Wrighton doesn't make it 3 wide, coming into T1 now. Nick tries to go around the outside. There's no room at all. Hippie defends his line on the inside and manages to keep the position and move ahead into 4th place. Rocket Man now has a second gap between these guys. Gad cursing his stars at this point of the race. Don't worry, Gad, I'll think of a I think I know what I might do with that disconnect, so don't worry, I'll have a look at it after the race. As Nick manages to make a move down the inside of Hippie. Wrighton manages to take advantage of it as well. Will there potentially be one more lap in this race? Nick looking very low on fuel at this stage of the race. It'll almost go 3 wide coming through the S's now. Looks like Wrighton and Hippie will have plenty of fuel for this last stage of the race, but crucially, will there be one more lap in store? As Rob comes into the pits. What has Rob done? Rob coming into the pits now. What has he done? He's handed the win to Jason. Jason now coming around the final corner, but it looks like Hippie's managed to get the run, and it looks like Nick's ran out of fuel coming across the line. Disaster for Nick there, as Rocket Man actually takes 2nd place. Hippie takes 3rd, Wrighton comes across in 4th, and Nick comes across in 5th. Rob comes in 6th place. What on earth was Rob thinking? Oh, he had a pair of soft tyres on. It was a complete misclick from Rob. Oh, absolute disaster for Rob. Having to put on a set of medium tyres right at the very end. So it must have been a misclick from Rob. And it actually means Mike takes 2nd place, Hippie in 3rd place as well. Disaster for Rob at the end of the feature race now. Wrighton managing to come home in 4th place, Nick in 5th, Rob coming home in 6th, and your winner for the feature race is Jason here. That's really unlucky, Rob. As I say, the misclick from this, I didn't even notice, to be honest, mate. Really unfortunate for yourself. Jason coming across the line to take his next win on a hot streak. 3 in a row for Jason. And securing fastest lap at the end there. Great job for Jason. So let's have a quick look at these standings, and I will be saving the replays here. And again, be warned everybody, these positions may change because of the penalties I might be employing here. But again, I'm not gonna be too strict on the penalties. I'm gonna have a look through them at some point this week and I'll let you all know what has happened. And again, I don't want to be strict on this, but multiple infringements like that, especially where you've gained time through some of the corners, that will be the ones. As long as you've gained time through some of these corners, that will be the one that you will be penalised for. But with that, let's have a look at the standings here. Jason coming across the line, taking his 3rd win in a row in the championship. Rocketman coming home in 2nd place, with Hippie managing to come in 3rd place. But I think with the disconnect from Gard, because Gard was actually very much in for 3rd place here and probably would have got 2nd place in this race due to that. But what I will do is I will give Gard the places for the points, for 3rd place where he finished before he got disconnected. I think that's a fair way to look at it, because it was literally like a minute and 30 seconds left in the race. So I think I will give Gard the points for 3rd place as well as the rest of the field there. So I think that's only fair for how well Gard drove today. So it will be Jason taking 1st place points. Mike will come home taking 2nd place points. Hippie and Gard will both take 3rd place points, but in this race Hippie will take the bronze trophy at this point. So I think both Hippie and Gard will be awarded 3rd place points to go towards their championship run. Wrighton in 4th place, Nick in 5th place after a great drive there as well. Good to see Nick high up in the points there. Unfortunate about the fuel at the end. Rob, after a disaster in the pit lane, managing to come home in 6th place, but he will be high up for the sprint race. Julian in 7th place and Sean in 8th. And I have saved that replay. Okay, so yes, 10-minute break here, guys. Start at 2040. As I change these settings up now. There we go. Cool. Let's go. Looks like I'll have to alter the grid again. I think it looks like a couple of people just backing out just to make sure their connection is stable now. And we are once again back in the Evo 10s. We'll have to reset the grid for this one, but as we see, Mike is the first one there, and it looks like both Mike and right in there may be exiting out to get their liveries for the Evos. So with that as well, get out, I don't want to text. Right. So with that, let's have a quick run of Red Bull in the Evos here. Let's go out with, I believe this is Mike in front. It is indeed. be following Mike around for this lap in the Evos. And the slipstream will be a huge deal in these Evos as well. As it will make a huge difference with this being a one-make event. Ooh, very slippery on the curbs there, on the outside. You might want to avoid them as much as possible. Very slippery on the curbs, especially with the rear brake bias that I am running at the moment. You can get very, very late on the brakes in this thing around here as well. So expect a lot of lunges on the brakes in this race. Ooh, a bit too much coming out of there. Just clipping the sand there. Oh, just managing to keep it in between the lines here. Right, let's go for a lap with Rocket Man in the background here. Is he going to make him lunge up the inside? No, he's not. So take as much of that curve as you need to in the Evo. You will be able to get away with it. Don't go too wide in this race, as you will pick up a track limits violation here coming up through turn 2, because apparently that is a corner for some reason. You can get away with braking at the 200 mark in these things, really tight in as early on the power as possible in these four-wheel drive beasts, and you can really get a lovely run coming out of the third corner there. You want to brake just before the 100 meter board there, coming in, ease on the power, don't want to go too wide there and end up in the sand trap. You can actually brake a lot later there than I did. It looks like you might be able to brake at the 100 meter board, as I completely missed the apex. Actually managed to get a nice run through the S's for a change. Only a slight bit on the brakes, try and keep as much of the curve as possible. These cars do have a lot of tendency to understeer at this track, and at many of the other tracks as well. Ah, you ruined my jump, hippie. Damn it. Cool. Going for a sort of lap at Red Bull there. Ah, so unlucky, man, Rob, honestly. Misclicks are probably one of the worst things you can have, to be honest. With 4 minutes to go here until the start. But still a great drive from yourself, Rob. Just really unfortunate about the tyres. Bertie being an utter troll in the Discord. So let's have a look at some of these Evos now. Gibble setting the fastest time so far. Rocketman not far behind him. Gard's just coming across the line now as well. Will he manage to improve? Not quite. Hippie being the silly little sausage he is. Let's have a quick look at the... Let's see, has Wrighton got the same livery on? No, he hasn't. He's got the same Newcastle livery on. Not that I'm complaining. Looks like we have Sean in another Everton livery. Looks very nice on that Evo, if I do say so myself. And we're just waiting for one robot chameleon to ready up before I set the grid. Come on, Rob, ready up, please. There we go. Thank you very much, Rob. So, oh yeah, hang on. If I set this to, yeah, hang on. So we have Sean in first, Julian in second, and Rob in third, Nick in there, and it was Jason who won, Rocketman in second. Guard can start there behind Hippie and Wrighton in there. I believe that was it, right? We've got Jason, so you got Sean, Julian, Rob, Nick, Wrighton, Hippie, Guard, Rocketman, Jason. Wrighton was ahead of Wrighton, Nick, Rob. Yes, that's it. Just a quick check again. Yep, that's right. Okay, cool. Good luck, everybody. Let's get this thing rolling. Oh, hang on. What's it be saying? Let's go. Rolling start for these races once again, and the same track limit penalties will apply to these guys, as we see the pink wizard himself of Hippie. Sean will be taking us for the first lap in first place. As we hear crickets in the background waiting for these things to start. Here we go, countdown begins. 2, 1, here we go, everybody managing to round the final corner crucially. And we are underway now, coming into the first corner. Everybody looks clean to the first corner. Rob will look to make up as much time as possible in this sprint race, as he is already right on the back of Julian now as he pulls to the outside. Rob coming into second place. Will he manage to keep it coming into the first hairpin? Good move by Rob there, just going around the outside of Julian. Looks like he managed to maintain his traction as well. It looks like somebody managed to go around, went a little bit wide there. Nick manages to maintain his fourth place for now, as it looks like Hippie is now trying to hunt them down as well, as it looks like Rocketman looks to try and go around the outside of Guard. Guard shuts the door on Rocketman, but good start here from all these guys. No position changes so far apart from Rob, as he now hunts down Sean. The Scouser and the Scottish going at it once again. It's like the World Cup all over again. Coming down into the penultimate corner. Rob later on the brakes and sweeps on through. Can he manage to maintain his position over Sean here? Yes, he does. Does go very wide there. Will have a bad run out of the corner here, but it looks like he might manage to maintain the position coming down the pit straight now, as it looks like Nick has managed to close up to the back of Julian. Will he make a move into T1? Both of them very late on the brakes there. Oh, good run from Julian, managing to maintain that around the outside there. Good job from Julian to defend his position, as it looks like he's actually getting a boost from Wrighton in the background. This pack closing up very closely now. As it looks like Wrighton is now peeled across, not quite going 3 wide into there. Good job from all these guys to keep it as clean as possible. Rocketman just having to afford to go a little bit wide there on exit. Julian and Nick are being challenged now, as Wrighton now has sneaked up into 3rd place. Nick on the inside of Julian manages to go around the inside. Good overtake from Nick, as Rocketman goes a bit wide in the background there. Unfortunately, just losing a bit of ground. It allows Jason to get past him at this stage of the race, switching around the inside. Not a good start for Rocketman early in this stage of the race, but he should be able to make up as much ground as possible on the rest of these guys as they go purple. Rob managing to extend his lead by a second here. It's going to be very difficult for anybody to catch him at this point, with him being 1.2 seconds in front of the rest of the field here. Oh, Sean just going a bit wide there. And yet again, that will damage his... That will definitely be track limit violations for him there, but he does lose a lot of time coming down the pit straight now, as he loses positions to Wrighton, Nick and Hippie. Coming into T1, looks like Hippie's wanting to make a move down the inside there. Looks like Nick might have just went a bit wide, as well as Sean going a bit wide there, gaining an advantage. That will definitely be a track limits violation for Sean there, as he pulls around the outside of Hippie. Oh, Sean going for a dive up on Nick. Sean does have to be a little bit careful at this stage. It looks like Rocketman as well, just getting a little bit sideways there, as he actually manages to overtake Julian coming into the hairpin there. Julian unfortunately not managing to quite get the pace from the Evo out at this stage of the race. And Nick slots home into 3rd place, going around Sean as he bounces up in the air, coming out of the corners there. Will Sean be able to maintain a position over Hippie now? Hippie moves to the inside of Sean. On the inside of Sean there, managing to maintain a position. Will he manage to have the grip? Sweeps around the inside of Sean there. Good job, as Nick now manages to move up into 2nd place as well. Let's see if we can have a replay of that one. So it looks like Nick just wants to try and throw noses, and actually Wrighton goes a little bit, I don't know if that, Wrighton just goes a little bit wide there, a tiny bit of contact between these two, but then Nick has the drive coming on the inside there. Good job by Nick at this stage of the race, but he will be hounded coming down this pit straight, and it shows. You can see now Wrighton just trying to get back his position now. Nick just opting to go around the outside again, just going a little bit wide there on exit. Again, these guys really do have to watch these track limit penalties, because a lot of these guys will have picked some up in this sprint race to try and get around these guys, so they will have to be very careful at this point of the race. As they come into the hairpin now, this pack very, very tight coming out of the hairpin. Hippie having a great run on Nick at this stage of the race. Gard managing to sneak his way up into 5th place. Great job for him to come back from the unfortunate feature race for him. But Hippie goes up to the inside of Nick. Will he manage to maintain that speed coming around the exit? Hippie is ahead of Nick, but he is on the outside line coming into the S's. Does he manage to have the traction coming around the outside? No, he doesn't. Nick manages to maintain his position as they come into the second part of the S's now. Hippie looking to have a great run over Nick as he goes along to the outside now. Nick just defending his position now. Oh, bit of contact between all these guys here. Hippie just gets pushed out onto the grass. Wrighton moves to the inside there, forcing Hippie off the track now. Doesn't look like Hippie could have done too much as he bounces up into the air once again off the cones. Little bit rough between these guys here, this sprint race. Little bit of getting the elbows out, especially with these guys defending so hard now. Hippie just maintaining his position over his teammate in front. Hippie looks the faster of these two at the moment. Really competitive racing from all these guys here, as Jason now looks to try and move up the inside of Gad coming out of T1, revving the nutbags out of these Evos. Hard on the brakes coming into the first hairpin, but looks like Gad just goes a little bit wide, gets a bit tail happy there, and a little bit of contact between him and Jason there, forcing Gad out wide. But Gad will have the slipstream coming into the next right-hander off of the back straight. Will he try and make a move on the inside of Jason now? Gad tries to sell him the dummy as Jason goes slightly wide. That will allow Gad to have a better run coming into the S's now, as Nick manages to just have a tiny bit of more of a gap between Wrighton and Hippie behind him. Half a second gap now separates second and third place, but Wrighton has a very good run through the S's and manages to close up the gap even further as Nick goes purple actually, so very good times here from second, third and fourth place at this stage of the race. Wrighton now very close up to the back of Nick. Wrighton not close enough to mount a challenge here. Also looks like there's a bit of a battle going on behind as well, as it now Gad and Rocket Man come together, as now Jason loses out, but it's 3 wide coming down the pit straight. Jason looks to try and go down the middle of them, and now Hippie looks to try and mount a challenge on Nick as he had the slipstream. Nick going wide once again. Hippie just having to cut the inner chicane there. Will have to be a track violation for that one as well. Nick allowing no room whatsoever for these chances to pass. But Hippie will have the inside line coming up to the hairpin. These guys will be very late on the brakes. Hippie going to the inside there, just managing to maintain a position. But Nick looks to maybe have the slight edge down the back straight, but it is neck and neck between these two. Great racing to show for these two, who will have the better brakes coming into the sharp right-hander there. Hippie on the inside. Nick will have to yield about that, but will he have the traction coming out the next corner? No, it looks like Hippie holds on to the position 4 now as Nick slots in behind him. Great racing between all of these guys here, as Jason has now moved up into 5th place. Ahead of Rocket Man, ahead of Gad. Unfortunately, Gad just being left out to dry a little bit there at this stage of the race, as the rest of the guys try to move up around him. But the battle with 5 minutes to go in this race is for 2nd place now. Rob 4.5 seconds ahead of 2nd place. Really struggling his stuff here yet again, as these guys just managing to keep 2 tyres on the curbs now, using every bit of the track limits to their advantage there. And Nick will have a good run on Hippie coming up to the first corner again, revving the nutbags out of these cars. Nick moves to the inside. Will he try to challenge coming into T1? Hippie sweeps around the outside and does actually go a bit wide there. Again, these guys will really have to try and look to the track limits in this one, as Wrighton manages to get around the outside of Nick there as well. Was that potentially a move around the outside for Wrighton as well? Looks like it was, yes. That will definitely be a track violation for Wrighton there as well. But for the meantime, Nick actually managed to move back up the inside of Wrighton there. So this battle really not over between these two, as these two are battling incredibly hard at this stage of the race. Will Wrighton try to mount a challenge up the inside of Nick? Hard on the brakes. He backs out of it wisely, as he doesn't look like he was quite close enough to try and make a move up the inside of Nick there. Smart driving from Wrighton. He will still have the slipstream heading out of all of these corners now, as now Hippie has actually managed to break the slipstream of 3rd and 4th place behind. So really good job by Hippie at this stage of the race to break that toe. Wrighton looks to try and make a move on Nick up the inside again, just throws him a bit of a dummy, just trying to ward off Nick at this stage. Nick just goes a little bit wide coming out of the corner and goes very wide at the final corner yet again, losing a lot of time coming down the pit straight. Wrighton will now have the advantage and the run up into T1. And Wrighton slots into third place as Nick runs wide yet again of the first corner. Really will have to watch them track violations now, as he's now certainly maybe more than 3 at this point of the race. As Nick and Jason now challenge each other coming up to the hairpin. Nick late on the brakes. Oh, bit of a slide there. Maybe a bit of contact between these two. Let's have a quick look at what happened here. As Nick maybe have just lost it on the brakes. Let's have a quick look at what happened here. Side by side with Jason coming into... No, just very late on the brakes there, and actually comes across Jason in the end, just trying to get out the way. Disaster for Nick at this point of the race, and now finds himself in 5th place, right off the back of the top 4 now. And looks like Rocketman and Gard once again going at it in these sprint races. Gard trying to just to throw Rocketman off the scent at this stage of the race, just showing him a dummy. Gard on the outside of Rocketman now. Rocketman just going a very, very shallow into the bottom corner. Ooh, a little bit of a turn in there from Rocketman, just turning into Gard. Gard was on the inside there, and it looks like just a little bit of an error from Mike at that point of the race. And Gard makes his way on through, but crucially Gard will be defenceless from the slipstream, as he's not quite close enough at this point, as Mike goes very wide coming out of T1 again. That will definitely be a track violation once again. But look at Wrighton and Jason now coming up to the hairpin. He will be better on the brakes at this stage. Good pass from Jason there, just shutting the door on Wrighton now, as Gard actually looks to go a bit off in the background there. Looks like maybe a done move for Jason, but will Wrighton be able to come back down this back straight? No, it doesn't look like he's quite close enough yet, as it looks like Rocketman has actually managed to get back in front of Gard. Let's see if we can have a quick look what happened behind there. Oh, bit of contact there between Rocketman and Gard there. Maybe a bit of a rivalry forming between these two, as now Sean looks to challenge Gard at this stage of the race, as Sean makes him lunge up the inside of Gard. Little bit of contact there between the two, but not too much to go by. We'll definitely be having a look at this battle after the race, as it looks like there will still be one more lap. Looks like Wrighton goes a little bit wide. Hippie just extending the track limits a little bit more there. Using as much of the track as possible, as it actually settles down for the final lap for once, and it doesn't look like there's too many battles going on now, as the field looks to be fairly separated coming into this final lap. Might not be a chaotic last lap like it usually is, but saying that, Nick has managed to close up to the back of Wrighton, but Wrighton has actually managed to get a great run out of the hairpin and is now within the slipstream of Jason in front of him. Or is he? Crucially, these guys are just outside of slipstream range, excuse me. Ooh's Wrighton just gets a little bit hot coming into the corner, but actually manages to make it work very well and gain some time over Nick behind. And it doesn't look like anybody is too close enough to make a move now. Hippie's too far ahead of Jason, as we have your winner of the sprint race, Rob, coming home in first place, 4.8 seconds ahead of Hippie. very well fought battle from the back of the pack for Hippie, as well as Jason coming in third place, Wrighton coming across in fourth, Nick coming across in fifth place, Rocket Man followed by Gad, Sean and Julian coming across the line, not quite managing to get the grips with Evo on this track. Great racing as usual by all these guys, and thoroughly entertaining through that entire middle part of the lap there. Great stuff by these guys. Clean race for Rob, and managing to actually take and end the streak of Jason taking home the first place in this sprint race. Very good job from Rob as we take a quick look at the final standings here. Rob coming across the line in first place, ending the tyranny of Jason and ending his win streak at 3 races there. Hippie with a brilliant race coming across in second place. Massive haul of points him, and it will do him very well in the championship and might secure him third place overall in the championship after a sterling week from him. Great job. And Jason coming across in third to add to his feature race win from this weekend. Really good job by Jason yet again. Wrighton managing to squeeze out fourth place after a slightly disappointing feature race, but still a great haul of points for him. Actually, no, Wrighton managed to finish a little bit further up, didn't he? Never mind, great haul of points there for Wrighton. Really managing to strut his stuff once again and managing to make the Evo work this time around. Nick, solid finish for him again. Another fifth place to add to his collection from this race weekend. It's good stuff from him. Rocket Man coming home in sixth place, not managing to capitalise as much as the rest of the field around him, despite but still a great haul of points as well with that second place in the feature race for him. Gard, unfortunately, again not managing to quite make as much use of the feature of this sprint race compared to his feature race third place. Sean in eighth place, just pipping out Julian at this point of the race. Good stuff from all these guys. Many congratulations in the chat once again. Great stuff overall. See, it's always the same when you don't have to piss Rob. Don't have to make that mistake again. GG's to Rob from Hippie in the chat. GG's from Kim as well in the chat. Good to see everybody in high spirits after this weekend, and what a weekend it's been as well. Great racing in both the feature and the sprint race this time around. Great stuff to add to the utter carnage of this season so far, because it's been great to watch, great to commentate over. Really good stuff from all of these guys, and it's going to be very interesting yet again to see how the points turn out, as we do have quite a few different points finishers this time around and a few different spots on the podium, so it'll be very interesting to see how that shakes up the field. But with that, as I get completely stumped for words there, I shall leave you be for the rest of your Sunday night, as it's just turned past 9 o'clock here in the UK. So where will we be next? Let's have a quick look in the Discord. Let's go to tracks, and it is Sardinia B we will be racing in next, so look forward to that next week at Sardinia B. Again, completely different track, full with long sweeping hairpins, very tight corners, very fast corners as well. So again, look forward to that. But with that, I shall bid you adieu from the humblest of mashed potatoes here. Thank you for everybody for racing tonight. Again, great to watch, great to commentate over. Thank you everybody in chat as well. Thanks for supporting the stream. Make this 10 times more fun to do on the Sunday night. Later, Rob. Hope you enjoyed yourself. Great racing tonight again, despite the incident, as you say. And with that, I shall leave you be, and we will see you again next week at Sardinia B for round 5 of the GR4 Championship. Have a great night, guys, and catch you later.